And I wonder if I, Leslie, cross your mind. For me, it happens all the time. Ah, hi, I didn't see you there. Well, no one, because apparently there's zero people in the live stream. Nice, nice. Zero. That's the amount of exploitation that should be allowed in the world. Zero. All right. All right. Let's get this party started. Yes. Um. Well, it's been 4 months, I guess, since the last vegan message. I really couldn't believe it when I saw it. I was like going through my channel. I was like, hey, when did I do this vegan message thing? The last time, 4 months ago, apparently. Yikes! I'm sorry about that, but there's so much that has happened, and then my phone gets fried every time I do one of these live streams. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm mostly uh, active on Instagram, really, where it's easier to just post anything and share stuff. It's like a more friendly platform for my uh, old and slowly dying uh, telephone device. So yeah, so I haven't been here for a long while, but hey, got me here. I'm finally back. So yeah, today we're gonna do something. I mean, what are we gonna do today? Well, at first I thought, well, we already talked about what veganism was or is. We already talked about what veganism is not. So at first I thought maybe we should talk about the why of veganism. But I realized that in the second message video, I already kind of covered that. So today, maybe what we can do is something a little bit different. Um, if anybody joins the live stream, maybe at the end we can do a little Q&A and stuff like that, and in the old style of the Dear AJ. I don't know if you remember those videos. And also, I thought maybe we should talk about today because there's so much that has happened in the last 4 months, and the new topic that I came up with just a few moments ago before going live, I'm thinking we should talk about the enemies of the animals. I know this is a topic that is going to be kind of controversial, that you are probably going to be like, AJ, that is kind of tiresome. Can't we just move on from that? Just talk about something else? Well, I wish we could, but sadly, the enemies of the animals keep pumping up everywhere. And it's really sad, it's really terrible, but we have to talk about them because these enemies, we need to learn to recognize them. We need to recognize what they do, their tactics, and we need to you know understand that they don't really represent veganism. They represent a bastardized version of veganism or pretend veganism. For what purpose? Hell if I know. At this point I have no idea. You know, I really don't know. At this point I just don't have any idea why they do it. Some say it's because of the money, the clout, the fame, the sponsors, connections to industries and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of all that. Maybe they don't really care about setting the animals free from exploitation. It's not in their best interest. Um, oh man, but whatever reason it is, what they're doing is wrong, and we need to call it out. Yes, as vegans, it's not we cannot just stand idly by while we see the message of veganism being distorted and being corrupted and turn into something that completely destroys the meaning and the intention behind it. Mm. So yeah, today we're probably going to talk about a little bit about the history of veganism, where it really comes from, and why it was created. Maybe some of that, maybe some of the stuff that has happened, because may or may not be aware that a few weeks ago, a three numquats got together to talk smack about us, the actual vegans. And of course, they did their thing, what they usually do. Um, what they usually do, then just strawman the heck out of our position, come up with a bunch of fallacies and a bunch of lies and stuff like that. So it's a complete misrepresentation of everything that we've said, everything that we've said to them, everything that we stand for. It's just, man, uh, it's really frustrating. And on top of that, not only do they lie about us, they lie about lying about us. That's the other thing. It's lie on top of lie on top of lie. It's incredible, really. And one thing they do, after they blocked us all from social media and whatever, and they made a list of all the actual vegans, and they told their followers to block us, that hey, if you see us on social media, just block us, don't even interact, don't even do anything. Why are they doing this? Uh, Obviously, because they don't want their followers to learn the truth. They don't. They need them to be useful idiots, so they could donate to them and give them, their money, whatever. They just keep inflating their ego. That's it. Um, they know that if we reach their audience, many of them will start seeing the truth and abandon them, and they're gonna go actually vegan. They're gonna become vegan for real, and that's not what they want. They don't want vegans. They want a world that seems like we're doing something without really doing anything for the animals. That's what they need, because the perpetual victimization of the animals gives them a platform to stand on, and it keeps the stuff, the influencer thing rolling. That's the thing. I don't want to be some influencer. I don't want to be some activist or whatever. I want all of this to end. I want all of this to not be a necessity. I don't want to have a channel about veganism. My goal is that the entire world becomes vegan right now, so that I don't have to do this anymore, and I can just talk about my favorite TV shows and my favorite music and my favorite movies and everything else that I like. I don't want to be talking about this. I don't want to be reminding everyone all the time that animals are individuals and that we humans have no right to use them. I don't want to have to repeat this thing over and over and over. But sadly, I have to do it. I am compelled to do it because there's, it's needed. That's what I have to do. Sadly, that's the world that we live in. We live in a non-vegan world. I want to make it a vegan world. So until that happens, that's it. That's why I'm doing this. But those people, they want to continue being a plant-based nutrition experts and plant-based bodybuilders and stuff like that. That's what they are. They are career activists. Not really activists, if you ask me, but they've made a career. They've made animal exploitation their career. I don't want it to be my career. I don't. you know, no, it's not a career for me. It's just something I have to do because it's the right thing to do. That's it. But I don't want any fame or any sponsorship money or whatever. I don't want any donations or anything like that. And now, because I know that some people at some point, yes, I did have like different platforms where I was receiving some money or I could receive some donation or whatever, but I quickly took them out. I was like, you know what? No, because it really felt wrong to be getting money from people. I felt like that wasn't. No, it felt No, for many reasons. But one of them is that when you're getting money from people, you're also now obligated to do or say what they want you to say and do. And that's dangerous because now your message is not yours anymore. It's whatever your financial backers are telling you that you're gonna say. That's what you're gonna say. And if you don't, they take their money away. So that's why I decided a long time ago. No, I'm not gonna do any of these Patreon or any other platform like that. I'm not gonna do any of that because, uh, at least for veganism, maybe at some point I create some kind of platform for something else, whatever, some personal interest or whatever it is, and I become some content creator or something, maybe. But I don't know. But for veganism, I'm not gonna. No, because then they wanna they wanna tell me what I'm gonna say or what. And I didn't like that. I was like, no, that feels uncomfortable because then that person, if I don't comply with what they're requesting, and I got a lot of requests via email and direct messages, like, hey, stop talking about this, start talking about that, and these were people that were giving me their money. So I thought, you know what? I don't feel comfortable with this at all because I'm just a puppet now. I have to perform whatever these people want me to because they're the ones giving me money. So I thought, you know what? No, let's just no, no more. And from that point, I never did that again, and I'm never going to do that. This platform will remain totally free, and everything I do on veganism wise is going to be completely free, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to ask you never to. In fact, I would request to never send me any money in any way. But if you do not expect me to, to twerk on camera like David Rams. Ah, man, just remember that again. I know. I'm gonna have to go to therapy for 10 years to get that image out of my mind. Yeah. Yes. That was horrible. Um, yeah, oh no. Oh, bloody hell. All right, so moving on. So, yeah, about these enemies of the animals, they're saying so many ridiculous nonsense that it's impossible to respond to everything. That's the other problem. Like, these people, they blocked us, and then they're saying, oh, that we're complaining about them blocking us or whatever. No, no, you got it all wrong, people. I don't care that you blocked me. I care that because you blocked me, now you're telling lies about me, mentioning me by name, making memes, and I cannot defend myself on your posts. I cannot reply and show your followers that you're a liar and that you're a dishonest individual. I cannot show them the truth because I don't have the opportunity to that. And you can just say whatever you want about me, and these people are just gonna take your word for it. I don't think that's fair. I think if you block me, at least have the decency to never mention me again. I think that would be just. Like, if you block me, if I cannot interact with anything that you're posting, at least, yeah, do that. Don't ever mention me again, and that's it. Move on from that. But no, this Georgina Debunky guy continues to spread his ridiculous nonsense about the actual group of vegans that are bringing veganism to people. Um, and it's really sad. Uh, so yeah, my complaint is not that you block me. I don't care. I don't want to have anything to do with you. In fact, I'm glad that I don't have to see your stupid face on my Instagram. But what I don't like is that I cannot defend myself and that I cannot show your people how much of a ridiculous numquat you are. That's what I care about. But don't worry. The truth comes out eventually, and doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be clashing in the years to come, and as long as I'm alive, and in good health, or probably even in bad health, I'll try to, you know, combat all the misinformation and all the misrepresentation of veganism. But this thing that happens about 3 weeks ago, these three numquats, one by the name of Plant Geezer, who is just like I said, just some nutritionist with an exercise plan, not a real vegan. Uh, then we have Georgina Debonki, and then we have some guy named John in the live stream. They did this live stream, but John, whose real name is Liam, uh, making a bunch of claims and coming up with a bunch of ridiculous nonsense fallacies. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes of lies. That's the problem. Everything they said was wrong. Like every other sentence was completely wrong. So I at first I thought, okay, maybe I will respond to this, but I don't know. It was like, what do I respond to? Everything they say, you know, their live stream was 2 hours and 55 minutes, roughly 3 hours. Then my response video would have to be like 15 hours long to just to respond to everything wrong that they say. So it's an insurmountable task. But that was their intention, to just spew as many ridiculous claims as they could, so so that we would have to have a hard time uh, responding to all of that. Um, but man, like it was just so horrible, man, with so many inaccuracies and misrepresentation and a bunch of lies, and that's the difference, right, between their group of plant-based utilitarian debate bros and our group of actual vegans, is that for them to make us look bad, they have to lie about us. But for us to make them look bad, all we have to do is say the exact same things that they're saying. Yeah, we have to tell the truth to make them look bad. They have to lie. So that's kind of the main difference here, or one of the main differences between the two groups. Um, One of the ridiculous claims that they make is that we are a cult and that we all sound the same and we learn the script and repeat the same thing over and over. And, yeah, what is it that you do? Because I've seen the phrase "why why love one and eat the other" posted like thousands of times by thousands of activists. Is that not a cult? Is that not repeating the same thing over and over? It's the same thing. Or you can't love animals and eat them. Or peace begins in your plate. You're repeating the same thing. You're saying the same thing. Everyone. So is that a cult? Does that make it invalid? That everyone's saying the same? No, that's not what makes something valid or invalid. But yeah, veganism, actual vegans, we say the same thing because veganism is that thing. We cannot come up with something different because it's just one thing. So that's what we're telling you. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but to you, but yeah. Um, it's that's what it is. Veganism is one thing, and one of the reasons that the formal definition of veganism uh, was conceived was that they wanted to make sure that, when everyone said the word vegan and the word veganism, that everybody was on the same page, that everybody understood what it meant. Hmm? Not that everyone is running with their own version of it. No, 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 no. It's this thing, is what it is, and we all know what we're talking about. So that it can have an actual concise and precise message and meaning and concept behind it. That's one of the reasons it was conceived and why it was conceived that way. So if I'm telling you something different, not only am I lying to you, but I'm defeating the very same purpose that the meaning and the definition has. So why would I do that? Why would I tell you something different? Why would I say a different? You know, there's no different message. This message is the same because it's one message. Yes, said by a bunch of activists. Yes. Why? Because there's more vegans in the world as time goes by. So there's more of us saying the same thing. Yes. Um, the claim that this is boring or whatever, I didn't know that. Well, that's Plant Geezers. He said that we're boring, okay? But as far as I know, activism doesn't have to be amusing. You know, I think we already covered this this point in another video. I don't know why I think I did. I don't know if it was on Instagram or here, but yeah, the boring. That's not a good argument against it. Activism and justice is not supposed to be, a party. It's supposed to be, a very serious issue. So if it's boring or not, man, it makes no difference to me. I think it's boring seeing all the animal exploitation in the world. I'm bored out of my freaking mind with that. That's the most boring thing in the world. And I think it's boring seeing all the people, hey, try this dog meat. Now, what is that, man? That's not even a strategy. That's nothing, man. That's the other thing. These people, they're like, oh, I wonder why everyone thinks veganism is a diet. And then they're like, try this dog meat. What? Bro, you're the one who creates vegetarian campaigns and then complain that people think veganism is a diet. What can I tell you, mate? My man, oh, dude. Really? Oh, man. No, no, you don't get to complain about something that you're promoting. You caused it in the first place, and now you're complaining about it. I don't know, maybe stop talking about food, like we've been telling you to do, but you don't listen to us. Okay, then people are gonna continue to think it's a diet because of you, by the way. Another weird claim that they made was something about the monkeys in the that big coconuts and stuff like that. The monkey slaves of the coconut business. That, for example, if someone posts about it, we would be like, "Hey, yeah, that's great, whatever." We would applaud that, and and not and not be like, "Hey, but that's not veganism is not just about monkeys picking coconuts and stuff." Yeah. Well, first of all, one of the first lies that you were saying already falls apart because you're saying that we are congratulating other activists for their messaging, something that these people said that we never do. That we never say anything, we never give any positive feedback to each other or to anyone else. Which, if you claim that we are applauding certain types of message or certain type of publications, then uh, you're defeating that yourself. You're debunking yourself with that because now you're saying that we do give positive feedback when we see positive messaging being posted. So the other thing is as you can understand, there's zero visibility to the monkey situation, and there's a whole lot of visibility to the pigs in gas chamber situation. So all the dietary stuff and the cruelty and the harm and the factory farm and all that is overexposed. But the monkeys in the coconut business are underexposed. No one's talking about that. I mean, there are some posts about it for sure, but not enough. There's not enough information about that. And many people might not even know that this is even happening. Everyone can imagine that a pork chop comes from a real pig that was killed to have this pork chop on your plate. But not everyone could imagine that their coconut milk comes with the enslavement of monkeys attached to it. They might not even realize that. So, and because it's coconut, it's plant based, right? So people might not even realize that this is even a thing. So, I think it's an important issue to bring forth. Yeah. Um, but just like that, every other form of exploitation that is not as popular with activists, I think it's important to bring it to the conversation and to make it understand that hey, there's all of these forms of exploitations, and this is all wrong. And that's it. We need to understand the extent of this thing where exploitation goes, and we use animals, all sorts of animals, for all sorts of things. There are things that even today I'm finding out. Like, there are things that you wouldn't even imagine that we do to animals, or why we do it, or why we use animals in different things. You wouldn't even imagine it because in your mind, when you have a vegan mindset, you don't really think of using animals. So you don't really think that that could be a thing. You don't really think, oh, to make this material, they they put some animal component to it or whatever, and you're thinking it's just some material, so why would it have any animal? But sometimes, yeah, it does. So even markers, crayons, none of that it's safe from animal exploitation. Different fabrics, different materials. It's crazy, but it's true. And it's important that we know all this. It's important that we understand that in a non-vegan world that we live in, we're using animals for a whole bunch of stuff. But when we approach that vegan world that we want, all of that is gonna start to disappear. And when we finally have that vegan world, the world where humans finally acknowledge that sentient individuals called animals should be free, at least from exploitation. That the very least we can do for them is the most basic form of decency and respect that we can show them is to not use them, to not see them as resources. Um, when that happens, we're gonna start looking for solutions to all of these, and then we're not gonna use animals for any of that. So all of these weird things, because that's the other strawman that they use. They created this dogmatic extremist strawman. What, Voldemort's turban? What the heck? Hello. Um, they created this weird dogmatic extremist. Uh, oh no, I wasn't. I wasn't in the. I mean, I was, but that was a long time ago. But I'm talking about the live stream with that he did a few weeks ago with this guy George and some other guy who tried to conceal his identity, but Which I say, man, if you're gonna talk smack about someone, at least show your face, you know, at least show who you really are and give us your real name. Ah, right, yeah, I did have a live stream with him. But I'm talking about the one that he did most recently with George and the other guy, John, whose real name is Liam. Hi, Liam, in case you're watching this. Um, I'd like to extend an invitation to all of them. You know, to George. I invited him many times to have a debate. He won't do it. Um, Plan Geezer. I also invite him to my channel if he wants to come here. And oh, the kid who went from carnivore to vegan. Uh, I don't know who's the kid who went from carnivore to vegan. Um, and this John guy, and if he's if he's watching, if you're watching this, yes, I also invite you to my channel. Let's talk about all the stupid stuff you said to Plant Geezer and George Martin in that live stream because it was all lies, a bunch of misrepresentation and stuff like that. So let's talk about it. But yeah, you know, these people that they're saying so many, you know, their lies are so ridiculous. It's just I don't even know like where to begin. So I'm trying to remember everything they said to kind of give you my response to that because it's too much really. Well, you'd think we all be vegan, but no, some of them are not actually vegan. They're just some plant eaters who think they can use animals for some stuff and not for whether it's convenient for them. When it's convenient, they'll use animals. Interesting. That's a very weird way to be vegan. You know. Um, it's funny that they say, for example, that oh no, we know what veganism is. We know it's about no exploitation and no amount of exploitation is acceptable. Yes, even if it doesn't have any suffering. Okay, then why are you again in favor of lab-grown meat? Because it reduces suffering. Wow. So you just said that even without suffering, exploitation is wrong. But then when I tell you why are you in favor of lab-grown meat, which exploit animals, it's because it reduces suffering. No, no, no. That's a complete contradiction. So you're either lying in one way or the other. So no, I'm not contradicting myself when I say no to lab-grown meat. Which, by the way, I was thinking this. Lab-grown meat. I think it's really weird. Why? That's the first thing. Like with this new technology, why was meat the first thing that they come up with? Like, why couldn't they come up with lab-grown tomatoes or lab-grown mangoes or lab-grown mandarins or something? No, lab-grown meat. Like that's the first thing because humans still have the mentality to exploit animals. That's why. So they create this technology, this futuristic looking thing, and the first thing they think to do with it is more animal exploitation. But of course it is. Let me see. Lab grown meat is vegan if it's consented, no? Humans can make lab grown meat from humans who consent. I thought vegans don't count that as exploitation. Well, Voldemort's turban, that's the issue. Is lab grown meat consenting human flesh? No, it's animal flesh from real animals that are really exploited for it. So That's what it is. There's no person burger. That's not what they're making. So, oh man, it can be consenting human flesh. Well, good luck with that. No, no one's gonna approve of that because they're gonna be like, "Oh no, that's gross. That's this. That's that." So yeah, it's not gross to do it to a cow or a pig, but it's gross to do it to a human. That's the great mentality of these people. Practically used for that currently. Yeah, no, it'll never be used for that. It's not gonna be used for that unless we get to that soylent green future where they make those weird cookies with a human flesh. I don't know that can happen. I don't know if you've seen that movie Soylent Green with Charlton Heston. Uh, where he discovers that the Soylent Green is made from people. At the end. Spoiler alert for a movie that came out in like the 70s or something. Um, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that. But hey, personally, haven't seen it. Yeah, there's a movie. Yeah, but no, I don't think they're not talking about that. Why not? The same thing. There's no medical trial. I mean, there are medical trials on humans, but they do them after they, you know, exploited all the animals that they could. Then they go to human trials. So I don't know, but whatever. Um, so yeah, these people they support lab grown meat and they promote it now. It's crazy. How can you promote the exploitation of animals? That defeats the whole purpose of veganism. You're working against it. And now I know what these people are gonna say. Well, I don't care about veganism. I care about what helps animals the most. No, because this doesn't help. You're only helping to exploit them even further. You're not helping to set them free. Lab grown meat is dead on arrival. I'm telling you guys, it's gonna fail. And when it does, where are you gonna go? What are you gonna say? If you go to any lab grown meat company right now and you go to their about sections, what do they all say? That they are working alongside farms, traditional farms. And some of them even have their own farms with animals in there. So that's what they're doing. And they're telling you, hey, we take samples from the best cows that we have and stuff like that, just like the regular farms. They're doing the same thing. And even worse, they have their own farms, meaning that if these lab grown companies fail, or when they fail, they already have a backup plan. They already have a regular farm of animals that they can exploit and sell their flesh or whatever. So even if lab grown flesh fails, they already have a backup plan just in case. It's all a lie, man. It's such a smokescreen, and people, it's a scam. It's not gonna do what they say it's gonna do. It's ridiculous. Does bee herding to pollinate plants count as animal exploitation that isn't vegan? You know, I say it does. I say that using bees to pollinate plants, because here's the thing. Uh, it's not it's not a vegan thing, but that's the thing, right? Why aren't they coming up with lab grown crops that don't need bees to pollinate? For example, that's not their first thought. They thought of making flesh out of animals. And now they're thinking of making lab grown flesh to give it to dogs and cats and whatever. So, dogs and cats who are going to be victims of exploitation are going to be given lumps of flesh from exploited cows and pigs and chickens. there's no, it's ridiculous, man. We really need a world where we stop using animals and we stop seeing them as resources for us. And yes, of course, this includes bees. I think right now I don't really know much about the bee stuff, but I know that they do pollinate a lot of crops and stuff like that, um, and that because of human intervention and human ridiculousness, we've driven the population of bees to such a low count that now basically they're transporting bees everywhere to pollinate stuff because they can't do it. They don't do it themselves. It's absolutely crazy. Um, but they should be coming up with a solution for that. But right now, in a non-vegan world, I don't think they're even considering that because there's no willpower to do that. There's no political will to do that. There's no plan of action in a world that doesn't consider animals as the individuals that they are, and instead of resources. So that's what we're trying to bring to the table: the consideration of the other animals as individuals that we should at the very least, uh, respect enough so that we don't exploit them. So yeah, uh, that would be that would be my answer. I want to live in a world where none of that happens. Obviously. Um, so yeah, you know, these people are just absolutely ridiculous. They're promoting some lab-grown flesh stuff, and we have this amazing technology that could actually help us not exploit animals, but what we think first to do is exploit animals. So I don't know, man. it's it's freaking crazy, really. I don't know. It just shows you that the mentality of the human man is just so dumb. Like we really need to change that, and the only way we can do that is with vegan education. But these people don't understand that or don't want to understand that. We need to make it sure that everybody understands that the other animals are not ours to use. Um, but they say it's useless. They say it's not gonna work. They have this defeatist mentality, and because they say it's not gonna work, they say that what works is exploiting animals. And where does vegan geezer not align with you here? If he doesn't, well, he thinks that he doesn't align with me because he thinks that any activist, even doing the wrong thing, is better than no activist at all. He thinks Earthling Ed is great, not because he says the right thing, but because he exists, basically. I'm sorry, but no. Giving a wrong message doesn't make you a great activist just because you have a large following or some kind of level of fame. That's just an appeal to popularity and appeal to your authority fallacy. Um, and just like Ed, there's like Joey Carson and all those guys, those high profile activists with extremely wrong messaging. And, they this geezer, he says they're great. He has no problem with them. But he has a problem with me telling people that animals are individuals. That's too much. That's dogmatic and extremist and boring. But talking about Rupert the hamster for the 10 millionth time, that's not boring. And Erling Ed giving his story about the time when he had a bucket of fried chicken in his fridge, and he saw news that a transportation truck had crashed and a bunch of chickens were, you know, agonizing uh, after the crash, whatever. Dude, yeah, you've told that story many times. It's all about suffering. It's all about utilitarian points. It's not about the freedom of animals. It's just about reducing harm. And I'm sorry, but no, I'm tired of that. That's boring. And then when Earthling Ed is confronted by a hunter, the hunter asks, "Hey, how about backyard hens and stuff?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't have any ethical issue with that." Of course, he can't find an ethical issue with backyard hens because he's a utilitarian. That's it, not a real vegan. He doesn't understand that hens, whether they're being exploited, whether it's in a factory farm setting or just your backyard, and you only have like four chickens or four hens, whatever, that doesn't make it okay. That doesn't make it better. That doesn't, no. All of them are individuals, not just the ones in factory farms, but that's what he talks about because that's the only thing. He, it's just, I know. It's terrible, man. So yeah, to sum up, I'm sorry, but that's just what it is. These enemies of the animals, they they don't get it. People won't make a connection, a real connection to the animals and their plight if they don't understand first that the animals are individuals, sentient beings whose value is inherent, intrinsic value, not extrinsic value. It's not an instrument for you to use as you see fit. So if they don't understand this, why would they care if chickens see or don't see the light of day, or if pigs only see the sun when they're going to the slaughterhouse? They're not gonna care about that because they don't see pigs as individuals. So your harm and suffering points are not gonna have an actual everlasting impact because people will just forget about all that. You can show them videos of animals being massacred in the most horrible ways. But if people don't consider them individuals, but things, if they consider them dinner or handbag or jacket, why would I care how they cry or not? Why would I care? They're just dinner. And that's the problem. And that's what used to happen to me. I would watch documentary after documentary and slaughterhouse footage, and I'd be like, man, that was my reaction mostly. Why? Because why would I care? That's just my dinner. In fact, I'm hungry now. Wanna go out for a burger? That's what I thought. Then when it finally clicked that these beings are actual individuals. Yes, they look different from me. Yes, they are of other species, but they have their own personhood, if you will. It occurred to me, finally came to me that we take everything from them. These are individuals whom we take absolutely everything. We dictate their entire existence. In fact, even before they're born, we've already decided their entire life. And they have no say whatsoever in what happens to them or why. And I thought, you know what, this is completely horrible and shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have this amount of power over these beings, and I think we should just set them free. We shouldn't use them. It's wrong. That's when that slaughterhouse footage and that kind of stuff did have an impact on me then, because now I consider them individuals. Now I see that they are someone, not just dinner, not just a handbag or boots. So now, seeing those clips and those videos and stuff, now it did make me cry. It did make me have an actual reaction to that, but a real one, not just some, you know, momentarily thing where, yeah, it looks horrible and that's why it's affecting you, but because it looks gruesome, not because you consider the animal an actual being. do you think is more likely to achieve a vegan world? I understand yours is more accurate to the definition of veganism, but do you think its approach is practically effective activism? Isn't effective? I guess my insight would be said vegans know the definition of veganism but may stray from it when doing activism for efficiency's sake. That's what they say, but that's not the reality. Um, that's not what's happening really. Uh, and the reason I know this is because you never see them do that. You never see them actually explaining veganism to people. You see them explaining utilitarianism to people, and then when you confront them about it, they'll tell you, for example, you say to them, "Hey, I saw your video doing street outreach, right? And you mentioned this and that and stuff, but I never saw you mention the exploitation part, or like why exploitation is wrong, or that animals are individuals and stuff like that. And basically, why all of this suffering and all these cruel acts that we're carrying out against animals, why are we doing that? So you're not tying that part to the part where it's the core issue here, which is our exploitative, oppressive mindset towards the animals. So why didn't you do that? And the person usually goes, the activist usually goes, oh, I just didn't have the time. I just have like a 5 minute conversation and I just didn't have time to explain all that. Okay, but if you have time to explain suffering and cruelty and stuff like that, why don't you have time to explain the personhood of animals and the non-exploitation principle? Because I think you have time to do that if you have time to explain all of this other stuff. I know because I said it, but it was afterwards and I didn't record it, or my phone ran out of battery at that precise moment. That's when I talked to them about exploitation, and it just so happened I couldn't record it. Well, how about that? No, 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 no. I'm supposed to believe that. No, I'm sorry, but no. Hey, decidedly Donna, decidedly Donna. That's kind of difficult to say. Decidedly Donna. Yes, I like it. Man. Yes, that's one of my favorite channels of veganism. Yes, and yeah. Oh man, yes. It's nice to see you here. Um, and yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. They claim it's for efficiency, but I don't really see it, man. They are only efficient in creating more plant-based utilitarian people, and then they act surprised when those people turn ex-vegan. Well, how can you be surprised? You told them it was an anti-cruelty thing, and this person now found out. They now rationalized that they could be less cruel to animals and help in other ways without being vegan. Now, what are you gonna say to them? You have nothing now. So, you know, so there you go. You let them run with whatever version of veganism they thought was correct, and you didn't correct them in time. You didn't clarify anything. So the person now says they're ex-vegan. What are you gonna do now? That's the problem. Um, Any anti-vegan trolls yet? Apparently not yet. I think they're sleeping or something. I get your point. But your criticism is constructive criticism, so I guess maybe approaching it as that would save drama. Yeah, I don't know. I don't care really about drama. I care about um, trying to bring the true message to the people. And here's the thing, right? So one thing they say is that, for example, what happened to Alex O'Connor, for example, or Sofia Esperanza, or those people. The problem is when they came out as not vegan anymore, all of those activists, none of them, None of them. Well, maybe okay. Vegan Games did make a really hilarious video response to Alex O'Connor, which is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I gotta say, yeah. So kudos on that. I gotta give props where to his comedian side. I you know you know it, that's right. I mean, he's as a comedian, Vegan Games is freaking. I don't think there's just remembering it. I'm laughing because it was so funny, man. It was so freaking hilarious how he his video response to Alex O'Connor. I still remember it. Oh man, that was hilarious, really. And so as a comedian, he's freaking great. But yeah, let me see. Because having vegan infighting is right unproductive to your vegan share goals. Yes, but that's what I'm trying to tell you. They're not vegan. That's why it's not infighting. It would only be infighting if we were all vegan, but they're not. Will the Phantom be making an appearance for Halloween this year? Hey, I don't know about the Phantom, but the Turban shall. All right, Turban. Yeah, well, the Phantom. Hey, right. Halloween is fast approaching, so maybe the Phantom should make an appearance this Halloween. Why not? Okay, I'll tell him to see if he's up for it. He probably will. He loves attention. Uh, and he's the the original aura farmer. Oh man. Oh man. uh, oh man. But yeah, so I don't know, man. Some of the things they say is so crazy. For example, they claim that we're saying that if Alex O'Connor or this or other person knew about the real definition of veganism, then they wouldn't be ex-vegan. Like, no, they would know that they're not vegan in the first place. That's the first thing. We never claimed that. We've never made a claim that telling people the definition of veganism makes them vegan magically. That's not a thing. That would be ridiculous to expect. Um, Nothing, no idea that you present to anyone, especially something new that they probably never heard about, is gonna catch on at first. You have to work for it. That's why you're an activist. You're actively working towards that. So it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do. It's not as easy as just simply telling people what veganism is, but it's a start, and it's something that everybody needs to know. Um, how have you been doing, AJ? Well, all right. Been doing all right. I haven't had much time to do YouTube. But hey, it's been almost an hour. Wow. Uh, okay. um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram. So if you want to see me on Instagram, I'm always posting stuff and doing something or other. And YouTube, I'm mostly absent as of late because it's like more difficult to get stuff on YouTube. I don't know. I feel like it's not as friendly, user friendly as Instagram, for example. I think Instagram is like more direct, more it's easier to create posts, share stuff. I don't know. But yeah. And okay, so what was I going with? Yeah. So they're claiming that we're saying, hey, yeah, no, uh, we'll make you magically vegan by telling you what veganism is. Like, no, come on, we never made such a claim. That's simply a lie. Or that Alex O'Connor would not be an ex-vegan if he talks to David Arenas, for example. No, he simply would know that he's not vegan. That's the first thing. Whether he would be an actual vegan or not, I don't know. but at least he would know what veganism is not and what veganism actually is. So he would know he wasn't even a vegan. And that's the thing. So, so yeah, that's kind of the thing. But their claim is that they are effective. But it's funny that George himself mentioned this guy named Sarcastic Simon, who George claims was a vegan who then became ex-vegan. But wait a minute. If I don't know who Sarcastic Simon is, I haven't talked to him. David Arenas hasn't talked to him, or any other actual vegan, and he only knows plant-based utilitarians such as George, then how could Sarcastic Simon be ex-vegan if these PBUs, plant-based utilitarians, are so effective because they claim they're effective? So where's the effectiveness there if you let Sarcastic Simon slip away? I don't know. Kind of weird, right? Kind of weird how all of the ex-vegans are people who make weird health-based claims and dietary claims and all sorts of claims that have nothing to do with veganism, giving you reason to suspect that those people never really understood veganism, never knew what it was. They thought they were vegan because they were eating bananas and broccoli when they weren't. So yeah, YouTube is, I don't know, it's kind of slower. Yeah, that's right. And I think Instagram, well, that's why it's called Insta. I guess it's instant, so it's like easier and quicker to do stuff there. Um, at some point, I even considered just not doing YouTube anymore and just get working on Instagram full on, and that's it. Not do any more YouTube. But no, I think I'm gonna stay here. I'll try to make these live streams more frequent. Um, but I don't know. Right now, I don't have an actual, schedule or whatever. So, so yeah, that's the thing. So their claim is kind of weird. Some of those weird claims and stuff. They're strawmanning our position all the time. That we never claimed that. We never claimed that any of that. But that's what they have to say about us to make us look bad. And well, thank you, Donna. And well, so that's the other thing. Uh, what else did they say? Yeah. Oh well, I have this one right. Um, they said something about them mentioning like the color red in some video or whatever. This is just a hypothetical, right? It's not that they mentioned the color red. It's just a hypothetical. Oh, because we said or we mentioned the color red, these people are saying that we are redists and that we are all about the color red. And no, what we're saying, if we want to be a more accurate representation of what we're saying, a more accurate representation would be you're saying that you are representing the color blue and that you're talking about blue to people. But what you're really describing is the color red, but you're calling it blue. Then we're calling you out on it, and you're telling us your response is, but red is more popular and it's easier to get people interested in color with red. Blue is boring and it's more difficult to get people with blue. So we're gonna take them to blue later, but right now society is not ready for blue. They're like, bro, what the heck? You're deciding already over people that they're not ready for something. You don't know. How are they going to be ready if you never talk to them about it? It's the self fulfilled prophecy fallacy. You claim people are not ready for veganism, so you never talk to them about veganism, so they're never ready for it because you don't talk to them about it. And it's just the cycle continues. We need to have this conversations, and we need to have this. It's gonna be difficult, yes. Is it gonna be, a rocky road? Where, yeah, it is. It's gonna be a long and winding road, but we have to do it. That's why we're activists. If you thought activism was just sharing recipes and being friendly with everyone, well, no, dude, that can be a part of it, sure, if you want, but you should never, never short sell the animals, never throw them under the bus, never ask for anything less than their liberation from human exploitation, and never settle for any weird negotiation terms like, oh, well, we're going to exploit them here a little bit to not exploit them later. Like, no, that's not a thing. Stop using them. You know you can. All we need to stop using animals, we already got it. It's in our brains. It's here. It's our mentality, people. We don't need laboratories. We don't need factories or industries. What we need is here. So that's all we need. That's it. And I'm telling you now, like, lab grown meat is just not. It's not. That's not it, people. It's not. That's not the answer. I'm sorry. I know you think it is, but it's not really. I promise you, it's dead on arrival. It's not gonna be successful. It's not gonna do anything. It's just going to be another product alongside the traditional animal products, and that's it. It'll probably have some kind of repercussion at first when it finally launches, I don't know, worldwide, whatever, and it'll get some kind of traction at first. There'll be the boom of lab grown flesh, and the press is gonna talk about it, and everyone's gonna be talking about it, and social media and stuff. And then little by little, it's gonna wind down, and people are gonna forget about it. They're gonna start making articles like, "Is lab grown flesh actually healthy? Is this a conspiracy from Bill Gates and Microsoft and Pfizer?" Bro, we're gonna see all of that. We're gonna see a bunch of right wing conspiracy nut jobs against lab grown meat. We're gonna see a lot of hippies saying that, "Oh no, this is capitalism, man." We're gonna have a lot of it, and then we're gonna have the health crazies going, "No, this laboratory thing is not as healthy because it's processed and whatever." I don't know, man. It's gonna be a shit show, just like the plant-based stuff. It happened to the plant-based stuff. It's gonna happen to these too. Don't you see? We're just gonna repeat the same history. Oh, hey, Ali in the house. Hello. Nice to see you. So yeah, it's gonna be the same thing. We're gonna repeat history here. It's gonna be the same thing as with the impossibles and the beyonds and all that. At first, everyone was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, impossible, beyond, rah rah," and then now it's like, "Oh no, that's ultra processed. No, it's the devil." And I don't know. Now they are completely failed. I don't know. So you know, man, if you don't know your mission, if you don't know why your product even exists, it's not gonna catch on. It's not gonna, no. Then you have obviously the global warming or climate change deniers. They don't care about the environment. So if you're claiming that the lab grown meat is better for the environment, they're not gonna care about it. They're just gonna call it a conspiracy and part of the 2030 agenda and stuff like that. No, dude. Like, the best thing we can do is educate people on how animals are individuals and that they should respect them, to at least not use them anymore. That's it. But no, you don't want to do that. You think that's dogmatic and extremist. No, no, it's not dogmatic or extremist. It's not. It's the most basic form of decency, the most basic thing that we can do for animals. So yeah, I don't know. Oh man, it's been more than an hour. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. 5:10. Yes. All right. And that's when people started to arrive. Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. If anyone else has any other questions and stuff, because that Turban guy had some of the interesting questions. And I like that question about the bees because that's an interesting conversation, right? Like we use bees to pollinate crops. Now we eat from those crops. Is that vegan? Is that not vegan? I don't know. I think if right now we don't have any better pragmatic alternative, we're gonna have to do with that. But we need to work towards not using bees for any of that. Um, so it occurs to me that instead of lab grown meat, why not lab grown tomatoes and stuff? You know. But hey, that's just me. You know. In fact, why not lab grown avocados that they could be like ginormous, ripe and plump avocado, perfect avocado every time. Huh? With no pit, not even a pit. It's just like a ginormous lump of fleshy avocado. Like, yeah, why not? I mean, that's way better than you know than this lab grown flesh, whatever. Who wants that? No one. Avocado. That's where it's at. Um, in fact, you could do some lab grown bank account. That would be great because I'm I'm broke. Oh man, honey is for bees. Yes, exactly. Um, definitely, yeah. Bees they make that beeswax and and honey for them, no, not for us. But there's also a conversation of them pollinating different things, different crops that grow, the fruits and vegetables and stuff that we consume. Even vegans consume that, but we use it through the use of bees, to pollinate. So I think that's interesting. Uh, and I think that, yeah, that also needs to stop. Um, let me see. Honey for yes, that's right. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any other vegan related questions and stuff. Could go to the Q&A section of the evening, and then uh, we would be saying our goodbyes. Let me see. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know how can someone think that using animals in any way, like there's like service dogs and stuff like that, and emotional support peacock. That's it sounds ridiculous, but it's a real thing, but it shouldn't be. Like, how come? How is a peacock an emotional support animal? I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, but that's not right. Um, and we need to do away with all of that. Um, but hey, that's just my crazy idea, I guess, that animals are their own individual and they have their own life to live. Um, but yeah. Okay. Well, if there's not much more commentaries or any questions out there, I think we can start saying our goodbyes for today. I'll try to make this live stream more frequent so that we're here and we can, have more conversations about these topics. And yeah, I do have some stuff to do. What time is it? Yeah. So yeah. uh, I think we can start saying our goodbyes for now. So yes, it's been nice seeing you. And remember, animals are individuals. They are sentient beings. So stop using them and start seeing them as non-human people that they are. It's good seeing you again, AJ. Well, thank you, Donna. All right. Um, Now, will the Phantom? Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna try to bring the Phantom back to the channel. Yes, maybe we could do something for October. Maybe another Phantober, or maybe something. I don't know. The thing is that my phone, the microphone part of it, for some reason, I tried recording different videos, and when I tried to record them, the audio was all wrong and stuff. Like the audio just wasn't good, and it happened with microphone, without microphones. I tried different things, and it didn't work. So I don't know. So that's why I'm doing these live streams, because it seems to at least kind of offset some of the microphone issues. But in recording, it just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't coming out right. So man, I had a lot of videos prepared that I wanted to make, but sadly, I don't know. It didn't work. So I'm gonna try to see if it works. If I can now record videos in a good way, with a good sound and everything. And let's see if I can bring the Phantom back. I think he's gonna be excited to be here again, and to be wreaking havoc on my channel and doing his chaotic stuff. You know the Phantom. Well, it's been great. So yeah, we'll see you soon, and take care out there. And remember, be vegan. The animals need us all. Bye.